I'm gonna go ahead and hit record just so we can get started and hopefully a couple other people will join us. First things first is I know you guys had a couple questions about a fall challenge. Okay, like when are we starting the fall challenge? Are we doing a fall challenge, etc. I think that it is really important for all of us on, I'm gonna say Monday. Okay, so either, well, I should say either Sunday or Monday, but actually, you know what? No, Monday will work because everybody will be off work since it's Labor Day. I think that we should all take starting photos on Monday, given that we will have, let's see, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. That puts us done right around like October 20th. If we were to do like 8 weeks, which is perfect because a couple weeks after that, we'll be going on our team retreat. So, for those of you guys that were wondering, like, hey, when should we take before photos? When should we start this next fall challenge? I think what's most important is that we start that fall challenge on Monday, September 1st. So I love that the first is on a Monday. I think that that's wonderful, but also for this next challenge, let's go ahead and let's do that on the first. So that means a lot of you are taking your assessment photos this week, which is great. I so appreciate that. But taking it a step farther and retaking your photos on Monday in the outfit that you are wanting for the next 8 weeks will be huge. So if you guys have any questions about that, let me know. But that also gives you a little bit of time to kind of dial in over these next couple of days and over the weekend to kind of figure out what you need. So that's going to be the first thing. Second thing is if any of you are desiring a tracker, a habit tracker for the month of September, please get those to me ASAP. I will be making them over the next couple of days at my desk, and we're headed to the beach again this weekend, so I'll have some time on the way down, but please get those to me ASAP. So if you want, 10K steps on there, you want some personal development, you want to hit protein and cows, like whatever it is, that habit tracker will be for the first 4 weeks of that challenge. And I think that that'll be great for us. So again, I do not mind making those for you guys at all. I already have the template. I know you guys are so sweet. You're like, I don't want it to take you a ton of time. I'm like, I already have the template. I've already put a ton of the work in. So if you were to need anything, like please, 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 like let me know. It's not a problem. So that was the second thing. The third thing is I've mentioned it a couple times before, but I want to remind you guys that Grape Formula One Clear as well as Tropical Punch will be launching soon. I wish I had a date for you. I'm assuming it's probably going to be sometime next week, but I usually get the emails like 3 to 4 days to like a week in advance. So of course I will let you know. I know a lot of you guys are excited about them. I will say that the grape, I've already had it. It tastes like grape Kool-Aid. Annette, I know you asked if it tastes like the grape energy drinks. It does taste like the grape energy drinks. And if you've had our grape L-carnitine, like I feel like grape is a very universal flavor, right? Like we all know what like grape tastes like. So it's really, really good, very yummy. And honestly, mixing the grape with the lemonade Formula One clear, so like doing a half scoop of each, oh, it's like a grape lemonade. It's so freaking good. And mixing the lemonade and the strawberry limeade together, also top tier. Really, really, really good. The tropical punch, I'm assuming that's gonna taste like fruit punch, like a Kool-Aid. We actually get the bag tomorrow, so I will let you guys know, as I'm sure Logan's probably gonna want to bring it to the beach. But I'll let you know what that tastes like. So I think those were the three announcements I had. And then fourth thing is just a reminder about the team retreat. I think I've pretty much touched base with everybody. We've got a really good list going right now. But if you guys could really try to let me know by like the first, just so again that we can plan lodging, whether we get a block of hotels for people or whether we all stay at like an Airbnb or split up between a couple Airbnbs, there's definitely options for us to do. I just want to make sure that I have like the most honest head count as possible so we don't leave anybody out, and we can also make sure that I have everything arranged for everyone. So that's that. And let's move forward. Okay. So this week in our team call, I'm not going to try to take too much of your guys' time. I've been very good about keeping them shorter. Is we're going to talk about food labels. Okay. So this is what we are talking about in the Facebook group. But I do think it's so important to take a step back and really make sure, like, do you understand food labels? Do you understand like how to look at them and what to look for? So let's kind of talk about that. Now, how are you going to avoid food labels? Let's start there. So, number one, how are you going to avoid food labels? Whole Foods, right? An apple doesn't come with a food label. A banana doesn't come with a food label. Processed things come with food labels, right? So, cookies, pies, chips, pastries, different things like that, popcorns, they're going to come with a food label. But your Whole Foods, aren't. So when you're looking at, okay, having some rice and some chicken and some broccoli, you're not going to see food labels. Having, some Greek yogurt, we might have a little bit of a food label there, and some level one and some almond granola, not a ton of food labels there. But when you get into the fruit roll-ups and the Scooby snacks and all that stuff, you're going to have a lot of food labels, right? So looking and like watching out for how many food labels you're consuming are going to be huge because the more food labels you're consuming, the more processed the item is. And I do think it's important to know that nutrition labels and supplement labels are not the same thing, right? Nutrition labels are regulated by the FDA. Supplement labels are not regulated at all. The supplement industry is the wild, wild west, which, as you guys can, see over the last couple of years, especially those of you guys that invest in First Form, one, the quality unmatched, customer service two, and absolutely incredible. But three, First Form spends millions of dollars every single year to make sure that they are FDA third party tested, NSQF level certified, which means they are certified for sports, so like professional athletes can take them, and they are informed choice approved. So, and made in the USA. So when you look at the back of a First Form label, what you see is what you get. There's no discretion of like, okay, is it going to have trace elements of this in it or that? And like literally no. If you guys have been on team calls before where Logan has been there, he shared how he took some stuff in high school and he's like, he knows that there was probably illegal substances in there. But I can tell you guys right now, companies like Alani, right? Everybody's so excited about their witch's brew and their caramel apple. First off, their energy drinks are terrible. There's so much junk in there. They are awful for you. There's been more cases that I've seen of people hospitalized because of the ingredients in there than anything else. So like just don't, it's not worth it. Just don't drink them. They're really not good for you. But a company like that, not third party tested, right? So a lot of other big companies that you see out there haven't taken the time. So again, supplement labels are not the same as nutrition labels. Nutrition labels are legally obligated to put on there what is in the product, not the same with supplements, which is why I will never tell you guys to get your supplements from anywhere but First Form, but also why I highly discourage people from getting stuff like Amazon, right? There's so many retailers on Amazon that can make a label look very similar, and it's not even close, or you're literally just getting cellulose or like a rice product in the supplement. You wonder why you don't feel different? Because you're literally not getting any nutritional benefit, right? So looking at your labels and recognizing supplement labels and nutrition labels are not the same thing, but that's why all of you guys invest in First Form because it literally is the best of the best for so many different reasons. Second thing with the label, please look at your serving sizes, okay? I know that a lot of the times I'm guilty of it too. Love to eat popcorn from a bag, love to eat chips from a bag, but getting out your food scale and actually weighing out a proportion or seeing a proportion size is incredibly important. I think it's very educational. On top of that, too, I also think it's very important to look at the serving size and to really understand, like, wow, I have been significantly overeating on this, or maybe I'm actually under eating on it, or whatever it may be. So look at your serving size, it's the foundation. Many healthy snacks look low calorie until you realize the serving size is like two tiny cookies, right? So compare the serving size to what you would actually eat, right? Your eyes, and then really kind of look at maybe how many calories are going to be there. I think that all of us can relate to this example. I shared this before, but like Doritos or Oreos, right? The limit does not exist. The limit does not exist of how many I can eat, right? But the serving size says otherwise. So really look at that serving size. That's going to be so important for you to just be aware of. But then again, if you're wanting to find more things that don't have food labels, look more for Whole Foods. That's going to be important. Okay. Second thing, prioritize protein and fiber. So in my functional med right now, we are in the endocrine system. If you don't know what endocrine stands for, it stands for hormones. And it's really interesting because Andrea, my functional med teacher, who you guys have seen on a couple videos, she talks about in meals, where's the fiber, where's the fat, where's the protein. So looking at your plate and starting to build it like that is incredibly important. Now, she's saying very similar things to us, right? Where's the proteins, carbs, and fats? But carbs, she's specifically saying fiber, right? So what does fiber come from? Fiber comes from fruits, fiber comes from veggies. So when we talk about this, when we talk about fiber for, satiety and strength, and when we talk about protein, looking at those things are going to be huge. So Again, when scanning the nutrition facts, look at the protein and the fiber first. Those are going to be nutrients that keep you full, right? Proteins are most satiating, most keeping you full for a longer period of time, but fiber is going to be not too far behind it. And both of these are going to support muscle recovery. They're going to help you stabilize your blood sugar. And again, they're going to help you sustain your results for a longer period of time. So when you're looking on the back of let's say like a package of wheat bread, for example, or white bread. There's going to be very minimal protein there, right? And there's not going to be a lot of fiber. Why? Because what they have to do is they have to fortify the vitamins and minerals, meaning they have to add them back in. Whereas if we could just eat foods that already have vitamins and minerals in there and not have to add them back in, that would be huge. Well, what foods do we not have to add things back to? Apples, oranges, bananas, squash, yellow squash, zucchini, right? Like all that stuff. We don't have to add anything to them because they already contain their whole properties. So if you're looking on the back of bread and you notice, oh, the fiber says zero point 0.5, it's not really great. Whereas like a whole apple's got 4 grams of fiber. So look for that protein and look for that fiber. But since we've talked about fiber before, you guys are educated enough on your journeys to start kind of looking for that. So I think that that's going to be, that's really important as well. This segues into my third point of looking for trans fats or beware of no trans fat lies. Okay. So, a lot of the times when we see on the front of the box, right, it'll say like no high fructose corn syrup or no trans fat or no whatever. Well, then when you turn the box over and you actually look at the ingredients, there is some of those things there. So instead of high fructose corn syrup, maybe there's palm oil, maybe there's corn oil, maybe there's canola oil, right? Okay, well, if it's high fructose corn syrup versus palm oil, like they're really the same thing, right? So they've done a lot of things to say our marketing, oh, there's not this, there's not that. But when you turn it over, there's stuff that's not really great for you, right? And not last week, but the week before, we talked about fats. What are your better fats? Just butter, right? Grass-fed butter is going to be great. Lard, avocado oil, olive oil, all the other oils. Oh, we don't really need, right? You don't need grapeseed oil. You don't need canola oil. I'm not sure if you guys know this, but canola is not even a plant, right? It's a blend and a derivative of a whole bunch of different things. Like the canola plant doesn't exist, like an avocado plant or like an olive plant. So that's very concerning. Palm oil, palm kernel oil, all that stuff. Like they have to process it so much in order for us to be able to use it. So it's important for us to look at the front of the box and then look at the back of the box. If it says heart healthy on the front, but you turn it over and it says palm oil or kernel oil, well, then you know it's not really heart healthy, right? So don't believe the front of the box. That's my biggest thing for this point number 3. Do not believe the front of the box. You have to look at the back of the box. And number 4, something that's really interesting too, is you guys have all heard of like trans fats, right? Or the super saturated fats, the ones that are just not good for us. Again, the palm oils, kernel oils, things I'm talking like that. What's really frustrating is if less than, so zero point 0.5 of a gram, if the total product or the serving size adds up to less than a half gram, technically the FDA does not need to put it on a label. How crazy is that? If it's less than half of a gram, they round down and they're like, we don't have to put it on the label. So just because it says that there's only a small amount of whatever oil, well, there actually could be more than that in the entire serving size. So just know that they're sneaky too, and they kind of try to hide stuff here and there, which is really, really frustrating. So just kind of being aware of that and being aware that, hey, something super processed like a oatmeal cream pie, for example, like that's going to have way more saturated fat or way more trans fat in it than you think because they label it a certain way that it looks like it doesn't have to appear on the label. So just being educated, being smart, but again, you stick to whole foods and you're going to be great. The fifth thing I want to share with you guys is, in case you didn't know this, on nutrition labels, ingredients are ranked by weight. So you're going to see like the proteins, carbs, fats, but when you get that list at the bottom that says other ingredients, those are going to be by weight. So if it says enriched wheat flour, barley, whatever this or that, the most amount of that product is enriched wheat flour. So when you're getting through all the things, if it says like at the very end, maybe it's like honey and cinnamon, Well, those we both, or we all know that those are relatively good ingredients for you, right? Cinnamon's great, honey is fantastic, but the little amounts of that compared to like enriched wheat flour, if you will. So just being super aware of knowing like wherever that is, that's the weight of the product. So what I encourage you guys to do is just go next time you go to Walmart, or you go to Sam's, or you go to Aldi or something. Go in the chip aisle and like pick out a bag of tortilla chips. It will astonish you how like the first ingredient, sure, is maybe the chip, but then the second ingredient is like palm oil. That means like weight of chip, weight of palm oil, like they're close enough that they're by each other. So just understand that the ingredients list is by weight. And when you can understand that and you can work through that and you can know that, well, if something at the very beginning is full of oils and things like that, not the best. But if you got through all your ingredients and the last thing, which you're never going to see, but if the last thing was safflower oil or sunflower oil, okay, it might be a better option for you because there's such small amounts. But usually those oils are in the first like 3 to 5 ingredients. And we just know that like those are a no-go for us. So again, labels on the ingredients are going to be by weight. Okay. I'm going to try to pull up a sample nutrition label and share my screen with you guys so I can educate you on a trick that I learned years ago and something that has really helped me when I talk about different amounts of like proteins, carbs, and fats and things like that. So I got to find a clear one. I've shared this in a reel before, and I really like doing that because then it can reach a whole bunch of people. But this is a really great way for you guys to all start looking at nutrition labels. Okay. So hopefully you guys can see my screen here. Can you just give me a thumbs up if you can see like my screen right here? Okay, cool. Thanks. So here's a hack that I learned when looking for options that are high protein. And I learned this, like I said, years ago, but I probably need to make another reel about it because it's so good. So what you want to look at when you are looking at protein options is you want to look at the first two numbers or the first number, but in this case, two numbers of a calorie. And then you also want to go down to the protein, okay? So let's look here. 9 grams of protein, that's a nine, compared to 220 calories. Okay. So that means out of the 220 calories, you're getting 9 grams of protein. But then let's look at what else you're getting. Well, you're getting 35 grams of carbs and you're getting 5 grams of fat, right? So what you do is you take the nine, compare it to the 22, and if those are close, that's going to be a high protein option. So I don't think it takes any of us too much rocket science to figure out that 9 and 22 really aren't that close, right? Then let's say that we double that serving size and we look at, okay, for 440 calories, we're only getting 18 grams of protein. Think about the amount of calories that you guys eat in a day, right? A lot of you are anywhere from like 1800 to 2200, depending where you are in your journey. Do you want to eat a quarter of your calories for only 18 grams of protein? I don't think we do, right? But then let's look at that number hack that I taught you. 18 compared to 44. Well, again, I'm not a rocket scientist, but it looks like it takes quite a long time to get from 18 to 24, right? So I'm going to go back and search a high protein. Let's try to do this. Protein, a high protein nutrition label. Okay. Let's see what I can find. I'm doing this on the fly, so you guys will have to stick with me as we go through here. Mm, let's click on this one and see. It's amazing what they think is high protein, isn't it? Okay, you know what? We're just gonna go, let's go to a first form label. That's gonna help us. Just as a just as a trick so you guys can really see this, okay? So let's look at level one. Level one pumpkin spice latte because we just came out with it, right? I still cannot believe it's in stock, but let's look at the nutrition facts, okay? So pumpkin spice latte. Now, here's where the inverse, we're just going to flip around a little bit, where this is a good thing, right? Protein for pumpkin spice latte is 23 grams, okay? Then we look at the numbers here of 13. Well, is 13 close to 23? No, but like look at the inverse of how much more protein is here than 13, right? 23 is way over that. So, like, that is a positive thing. So, when we look at the protein being higher than this value, that is a good thing. So, if this protein number is close to, and I'm talking within like five or six, that's close. If it's close to the first two numbers of the calories, really good. That's a great thing. Or in this case, like level one, if protein is 23 and the calories are 13, so if the protein far surpasses the amount of calories here, that is a really good indicator as well. So, what you can do looking through these things is you can start to educate yourself. Okay, you can pull out a something like a packet of string cheese, right? And look and say, okay, how many calories versus how many grams of protein? I think a thing of string cheese is like 60 calories. But what's the protein on a string cheese? Probably six, right? So does six and six match up? Absolutely. And you don't need to do six to 60, right? On two single, like a two number calorie like that, you take the first number. On three numbers like this, you take the first two numbers. So that is really helpful because then you can see, okay, string cheese, relatively high protein snack. But then look at something like a handful of nuts, right? Lots of people think that nuts are really healthy. Well, maybe it's 150 calories, but then it's only 4 grams of protein. Well, four close to 15, not really. So it really kind of helps you figure that out. So again, that's something that I learned quite a few years ago. And honestly, I saw it on a video. I wish I remember where I saw it, but I was like, that is so true. And then you start looking at labels and you really notice that difference. So again, in the examples that we showed, 19 or 16 or however many grams of protein to like 44, that's a really big jump. But something like, string cheese, like 60 calories and 6 grams of protein, well, six and six are really close together. And then on the contrary, I showed you like another extreme example, but on the positive side, level one being 23 grams of protein to our first number of 13, like 23 is way over 13. So you know that's a high protein option. Now, you guys are really pretty advanced on your journeys and you get to see things like, okay, you know how to read nutrition labels, but like this is a great thing to tell your family. It's a great thing to tell your friends. When you pull out nutrition labels, if that protein and though that first two calories or the first number are pretty far off, that is something that you should be cautious of. So I just kind of want you guys to like marinate on that a little bit. Any questions about the food labels, or do you guys feel like these tips are helpful? Hopefully they're helpful. It's just quiet. Okay. Yay. Thanks. I appreciate you two being on here. So what I want you guys to do for your assessments this week is so if you haven't turned in your assessment already, share something from this call that like maybe you didn't know. Maybe you didn't know that trick of how to find those things. Maybe you didn't know serving size was by or the ingredients are listed by weight. Maybe you didn't know that supplement and nutrition labels weren't the same. I just want us to create a positive experience and really take something away that maybe we didn't know. Or if you knew those things already, share with me like how you're going to be implementing them and like how we can keep moving forward. Because if we can do that together, we can move in the right direction. So that's what I've got for you guys tonight. Short and sweet. I know it wasn't, a super ton of information, but I appreciate you sticking it out with me. And I am going to look forward to talking to you guys about it. Let me answer this. Okay, so Emily said, with food labels, though, I find myself sometimes finding it more complicated to get fats in. With that, could I eat more almonds, cashews, or not good options? Yes, Emily, those are great options. What I was speaking to is people have a misconception that nuts are high in protein. Do nuts have protein? Yeah, but do they have more carbs and fats? Yes. But if you're someone who needs fats, those are phenomenal options. Just like chia seeds, flax seeds are really great options. Avocados are fantastic. Absolutely. If you are someone who's focusing on fats, like 100% totally okay. I was just speaking to more so the misconception that like people think nuts are really high in protein, right? Another good option. People think peanut butter is really high in protein, whereas we all know like peanut butter doubles in fat what it has in protein. I think like 2 tablespoons is like 7 grams of protein, but 15 grams of fat, right? So those are the kind of things that these tricks and tips are helpful with because you can tell people like, hey, I know you think that cheese has a lot of protein, but it also has a lot of fat, right? Unless you get like light string cheese or light cheese. Cheese is pretty equal like protein and fat. but the nuts and the peanut butters and things like that, it's a misconception that they're high in protein. So, and again, you guys are advanced in reading, nutrition labels, tracking macros. You are all very aware of what you put in your body on a daily basis because of the education you've done with macros. But in addition to that, I do think it's important just to kind of sit back and figure out like, okay, what am I doing from a standpoint of labels? How can I educate my family? How can I educate my friends? Things like that. But I know, Annette, peanut butter is so delicious. It makes me laugh every time that I see a wellness influencer, somebody be like, this is a serving of peanut butter. This is what you want. I'm like, you're right. That's what I want. But it's so true. I wish peanut butter wasn't as fatty as it was. And somebody asked me about it today, and I'm so bummed. I wish we brought our peanut butters back. If you guys have been around First Form for a while, we used to make our own peanut butters, and they were actually really pretty good in macros. I was saying that. I know you remember. I love them too, and I think that they just weren't popular enough and they weren't selling enough that like we just don't make them anymore. But I'm like, I was buying them. Like I was buying them. So I'll have to ask First Form and ask if we're gonna, bring those back because we had like the brownie batter, we had the honey butter. Oh, they were so freaking good. So I'll have to see if they're gonna bring those back. But I know that I think those ones I think they could still have supplement labels, but I know how it gets a little funky. People have asked them to make like cereal, right? And make oatmeal and stuff like that. What people have to remember is those are food labels, right? They're nutrition labels, they're not supplement labels. And I'm pretty sure you have to have different licensing to make like food labels or nutrition label, or sorry, nutrition or supplement labels. So hopefully we can all find some better options. But I'm gonna look for some better protein options for peanut butter from that standpoint too. There's got to be some out there that actually have pretty good macros that are like more protein focused than fat focused, if you will. So that's what I got for you guys, but I look forward to hearing back from you and your assessments this week. Do not forget Monday, 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 Monday. Almost all of you should be off work, right? So take your before photos and for the fall challenge in the outfit that you want to take them in. If you, for some reason, are in the middle of a challenge right now, doesn't matter. Still take your photos and we're going to go from this date to that date. You still have the chance to be the overall winner, the lifestyle winner. And remember, every single month we're giving away $1,000 in the app for people who are constantly using the app, changing their lives. So that could be any one of you guys, right? So have a good rest of your night. I'll see you guys next week and happy almost September. It's crazy. I will see you in September next week. Okay, bye.